I think we're live.
I hope so.
We'll just wait for a few people to come on in.
Just let us know in the chat if you can hear us okay.
It's been a long time since I've done my own live stream. I've been on a few people's live. I was just on the Holly Chronicles live stream about 10 minutes before I joined up with you, Chris. Got invited onto there to show off, what people have got for Christmas and stuff. So that was pretty cool.
Spot of moonlighting elsewhere, I see.
Yes, but it's been a while since I've done my own one. So it's good to have you on, mate. How are you doing anyway? Did you have a good Christmas?
I'm good. Lovely Christmas, all things considered. We've had a good one. We've spent lots of time together as a family unit. Done various bits and pieces, and it's been good to get down and play Lego with the kids and all that sort of stuff. So yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I've had a great time. I don't know about where you are, but we're in tier 4 now, so we are in essentially lockdown. So we can't do anything. There's no shops open apart from restaurants. Takeaway restaurants. But yeah, no, it's been good. I saw the in-laws on actual Christmas Day, and my brother on Christmas Eve before lockdown hit. But yeah, it's been good.
Yeah.
Just want to say to everyone that's watching, thanks for joining, and it's good to see some familiar names in here. I'm just going to read out a few people just so I can say hello. So hi, Denny King, Only One Kenobi. Hi there, mate. How you doing? Starstop, Buddy Hepburn, Gary Moore, Joyce Dentola, Starvel Boy. Excuse me. Kremster Creates, Tim Bainbridge, Delvian Seek. John Maguire, Gary Moore, Action Figure Grader. Hi there, John. How you doing, mate? Gerard Coyle. So yeah, thanks for joining in, everyone. So C-Moles. Hi there, mate. Daniel Chart, Andre Mira. Good to see you all in here. I hope you all have had an amazing Christmas and that Santa Claus got you everything you wanted for Christmas.
Only if you've been good, girls and boys.
Yeah. Did you manage to get anything nice, Chris?
I had a couple of nice bits and pieces. Nothing major. It's one of those things, isn't it? When you're a Star Wars fan, everyone kind of assumes you've got everything. So as far as Vintage Collection Black Series stuff, didn't get a huge amount. I think got a Power Droid and a K2SO from the Vintage Collection. Which I've been meaning to pick up some spares for opening on those. I got some nice little metal coasters, which with the Rebel Imperial insignia on.
Nice.
And I did pick up I picked up. I was given the Power of the Force 2 Death Star, the Chasm Swing playset.
Oh, awesome! Yeah.
So they're not exactly Vintage Collection standard, but it's sort of a stand-in until Hasbro actually do something with the Death Star in the Vintage Collection. How about you? Did you get any nice bits and pieces at all?
I got some Grogu socks, which was quite nice.
just what every man needs.
Yeah, some Grogu socks. But I picked up a couple of bits to sort of give to other, give to people to give to me, kind of thing. Can't be trusted otherwise, can they? But John the Action Figure Grader will like this one. So this is VC169 graded, which is actually got a 90 gold with UKG.
Very nice. Very nice indeed.
Bit strange grading, sort of really new stuff, but can't go wrong with a 90 gold. I know he'll like that anyway. I think he's got one of these actually with CAS.
It's a lovely card back and a lovely figure, that. So actually seeing it in the acrylic.
Well, that's what I thought.
Good choice.
I thought it's one of my favourite card backs and one of my favourite figures. So I thought, I'm not going to go too mad with graded Vintage Collection figures, but I did get this one as well. And actually, I got John to thank for this because he spotted a bunch of sales on eBay, which wouldn't deliver to the UK. Actually, he got Tarkin for a really good price, and he offered to get me I paid for it, but he offered to let me have this one instead of him buying it, which is the Nikto, and it's a U90 near mint AFA. So it's the uncirculated. So the person that sent this in sent it in a case, and then the graders opened the case.
Yeah.
So that's a U90 near mint example. Really nice.
Very nice.
As I was saying to John, this was actually cheaper for me to buy it, from him with the price of the postage to the UK than a non-graded Nikto would cost on eBay in the UK. So
mad, absolutely mad.
Yeah, really happy with that. That's about it, really. Star Wars related. Not bad though.
Yeah, a couple of bits and pieces. Yeah, absolutely. And have you done anything else Star Wars themed at all over Christmas? Do you have any Star Wars traditions? Do you watch the holiday special or anything like that?
No. I've been watching The Mandalorian. I watched the making of The Mandalorian on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
Hang on. Cheers, John. Yeah, thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
He wanted it, but he offered it to me, and I was like, "Yeah, I'll have it." I wasn't going to let him have it. He'd already got Tarkin, but no, yeah, we watched Mandalorian making of, which was amazing. I'd recommend anyone who hasn't seen that to watch that. It's really, really good. Have you checked that out?
Yeah, the gallery. It's a cracking episode, and interesting to see sort of when it was being filmed and what was going on in the world around. You can see that it was filmed at a very less restricted time and then a much more restricted time as well, and it's all intercut within there. But even the advances that they've done since season 1 are blindingly different. Really, really good. Well worth a watch, definitely. Absolutely.
Yeah. If you haven't seen it, guys, in the chat, it's really, really worth watching. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Really. Apart from that, I've watched the last episode of The Mandalorian 2 or 3 times, obviously. But no, I don't usually have a tradition of making sure I watch one of the films on a particular day or anything like that.
No, we are habit of watching at least one Star Wars film on Boxing Day. I've done it since I was a kid. This year we picked the Phantom Menace, which I enjoy, the kids enjoy.
Yeah.
But it was the first time they clocked that the Liam Neeson Qui-Gon Jinn line, your focus determines your reality. And it's a line I've thrown at them when they're being a pain in the backside countless times. And they both heard it in the film and they were like, wait a second, Dad, you're dropping knowledge on us from Star Wars. That's cheating. What are you playing at? So they completely went off on me on one for that. But where better to get grade A knowledge than Qui-Gon? I mean, cracking source, I thought. But yeah, so we do that. Watch a Star Wars film each year, and I think it just helps get in the mood. One of the things I have heard people do is I think it was a Rebel Force Radio thing that started that, was blowing up the Death Star at midnight on New Year's Eve. I don't know if that's something you'll be going for, because we're all going to be at home this year.
Right.
So that might be something, so you time it out so that Death Star blows up and bang on.
Film at the right time. Yeah. I've heard about that.
Yeah. Might be.
I'll tell you what I did do yesterday, and that was I played the Monopoly Mandalorian game. And man, it is so complicated compared to I thought it was just going to be the same as Monopoly, but with Mandalorian little characters, and instead of Whitechapel or whatever, it'd be Navarro or something, but it's a whole nother game. You've got these baddies like Moff, the Death Trooper, and the Incinerator Trooper, which follow you around the game, and one of you has the child, and it's so complicated, but we enjoyed it. It was good. I think we'll enjoy it much better the next time we play it, when we actually know what the hell we're doing,
Yeah. Got grounding in the rules before you go into it, as it were. So, yeah, absolutely.
What's the big announcement, Matthew Riddle? Patience, my young Padawan. No, I will come to that. Because it's, obviously on there I put this is a big announcement. If I put it as a small announcement, then no one would turn up to hear what the announcement is, would they? So I have to say it's a big announcement. But I think it's a big announcement. I think it's big for this channel anyway. I'm really pleased with what we're going to be doing next year. So, Doug North, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everybody in the chat. I hope you all have a great New Year as well, as much as we can. I won't be going out. None of us will be where I live, but
No.
My wife was unimpressed with my big announcement. That's all I know. Yeah, I'm sure. How is little boss Andrew Mira? He's great. He had a great Christmas. Thank you, Andre. He got everything he wanted. He got the ATST Raider for the Mandalorian, and he got the new figures from the Wave, the Moff Gideon, the Armorer, the Beskar Mandalorian. He was over the moon of everything he got. So he's doing awesome. Let me just share this. Share my screen. All right. There you go. So the big announcement is that as of next year, it's going to start in January. I will be doing a show every 2 weeks called the Vintage Collection Show. If you're into the Black Series, it doesn't really matter because there will be some discussions around Black Series figures and stuff as well, but it will be predominantly on the Vintage Collection. And each week or every 2 weeks, I'll have a special guest. And I'm really amazed or pleased and amazed to get some of the people that I'm going to be having on as guests. So we're going to be having, for example, Victoria from Victoria's Cantina. We're going to be having Chris from bantherskull.com. We're going to be having some of the guys, Tyler's one of them, the guys that run the Vintage Collection Instagram page. Loads of nice guys there. I think there's 3 or 4 of them. Excuse me. So hopefully we'll get all of them on, but Tyler especially, 100%. He's going to be on it. John Miko, he's the admin for the Vintage Collection page on Facebook, which has 12,000 members. And then, not the biggest of the lot, but one that I'm the most, or one that I'm really looking forward to, is Jason from Yak Face has kindly said he'll join me on the live stream as well, which is awesome. So that's the Vintage Collection Show. It will be running every 2 weeks. Not too sure what day yet. Probably, I had in mind a Saturday. I'll stay up late to do it, sort of maybe 10, 11 o'clock on UK time. So you guys in the States, it'll be more like sort of 5, 6 p.m. for you guys. So you guys will be able to tune in. Yeah, I'm just really looking forward to it. It's something that I've been planning for a while now. I've been trying to get all the people involved. I have been on a podcast with Victoria's Cantina. She kindly asked if I wanted to be part of that team. So I've done a couple with her on her podcast, but YouTube's where I'm at. This is the platform where I do all my business. So I wanted to do like a regular live stream, because the live streams that we do are sort of every now and then, and they might have a focus about the Mandalorian because that's been the most recent thing on or whatever. But this is going to be a completely focused, about the Vintage Collection. It's going to be about most recent news that we've managed to get. It's going to be wants for the future, and then also each episode's going to have like a theme to it as well. So the first theme might be about droids, for example. We'll be talking about all the droids that we've got. Another week might be female characters, or it might be centered around one of the films. So it might just be we're talking about the Return of the Jedi characters that we've got, things like that. But all the people that I've sounded out that are interested, all the people that I've sounded out are really interested in joining and can't wait to be guests on it. So I'm really looking forward to it. So that is the big news. I hope it's big news for you guys. I think it's something that you guys will enjoy anyway. Let me know in the comments if you think that is something that you will enjoy.
I've just been looking at the comments as they're going past, and there's a lot of positivity in there. I think I think there's a lot of people really looking forward to seeing and hearing this, and I'm one of them. It sounds like it's really, you've got some good names on the roster there to have conversations with, and just seeing some of the other stuff that they've done. I know they've got plenty to offer in terms of speaking about the heritage line, and what have you. And I've got to be honest, I love coming on here and chatting with you, Tim. So it's always a good conversation. So to hear you talking to them, perfect.
And
Can't
also, I
wait
can
for it,
see,
mate.
I can see only one's in the, it goes without saying that only one will be on one of the episodes. Probably multiple going forward if he'll come on. Obviously, I'm sure he will. But I wanted to get, like, so for example, Chris from Bantha Skull. Obviously, we've talked a lot in the past because we were both involved in being really annoyed with the state of the vintage collection around about May time, and we did the whole campaign together and everything. Excuse me. So to have him on and actually speak to him in person is going to be awesome. I've watched there. He does a bit of a live stream with John Miko on the Facebook group. So I thought, man, why don't we just get everyone together and actually call it something? Because I know Fly Guy has got the 6-inch show. And so essentially it's representation for the vintage collection. I'm not sure if there's another regular show on YouTube that centers on the vintage collection specifically.
Not on YouTube as far as I'm aware. I know, like I say, Victoria has her podcast and she's now doing a regular vintage collection one, but certainly not on YouTube. And I mean, for me, I love podcasts, don't get me wrong, but Star Wars is a visual media. As we watch Star Wars, yes, you can read it, yes, you can listen to it, but generally we were all introduced to it by watching it. So it makes sense to have a visual representation, a visual platform to do something like this on. So no, well played, mate. Well played. Can't wait for this. Can't wait.
And also I think it's like, I don't want to, I want us to be like a pressure group, I think this year especially has seen the community become like a pressure group for the vintage collection and for 3.75. You've got people on Instagram, you've got myself, you've got Only One, you've got Chris at Bantha Skull. His whole website is pretty much, centered around 3.75 and the vintage collection specifically. You've got the Facebook groups and all these people towards the end of the year, or all the way through maybe the back end or half of the year, have all come together to sort of become a pressure group for the vintage collection and show Hasbro. And I think with the campaign and how well the Razor Crest did, it's easy for it to sort of just temper away and not be mentioned again until, and we're just happy with what comes out. But if Victoria's got her podcast, John's got his Facebook group, the vintage collection show on YouTube, then I think we can just be just a constant noise in Hasbro's ears.
So long as it's a constructive noise, absolutely, mate, absolutely. We don't want to be an abusive noise. There's a slight difference, but absolutely, it is getting a voice out there. And you're right, the community has pulled together around the vintage collection. We do just need to keep our foot on the gas and keep that going. And this should be a fantastic way of ensuring that happens. Just keeping the conversation going week on week. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and obviously when big news happens, we sort of do a live stream about it and react to or whatever. But I think when there's something regular happening, I think they'll always, even when there's no news, we'll have something to talk about because we can talk about previous figures. As I said, each week can have a theme, or each episode's going to have a theme. And the people that I have on, it will be, what are your favorite figures in the vintage collection? What are you hoping they bring out? All that kind of stuff. Everyone likes to hear that sort of thing and hear people's opinions of what they want, because everyone wants something different. I've noticed that on Instagram with the lads that run the page there. A lot of them are wanting figures from the game, whatever it's called now, Fallen Order. Whereas I'm personally not too bothered about that. I'd rather have some OT characters and more Mandalorian and Clone Wars. But it just gives everyone a voice, loads of people's different opinions and what have you. And I just think it'll be awesome. So I'm hoping everyone will be, well up for it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think, again, just looking at the comments, still seem to be plenty of people looking forward to it on that side of things as well. And yeah, Great, mate. I'm looking forward to it. Any idea? Have you got a date for the first one yet?
I haven't got a solid date yet, but it will be in January. Hopefully, in the first 2 weeks of January, we'll get the first guest on. I haven't finalised who the first guest will be.
Yeah.
But as I mentioned, Jason at Yakface has agreed to come on, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of people in the chat would like to fire some questions off at Jason. I mean, he is the man for the news, isn't he? So
is that something that you're going to be allowing as well, your viewers and what have you to be chiming in with questions?
Oh, of course, yeah. There'll be loads of interaction. It'll be a chance for the people in the chat to, put their questions to the guests. Of course, yeah. Jason doesn't have to answer everything that's fired at him.
He's very experienced at sidestepping when he needs to, which I'm sure he'll agree. Where's the best place to find out about the first one? How's the best place for people to keep informed of that?
Well, just be subscribed to this channel and follow me on Twitter and whatever, and then I'll be making announcements of when it is. But hopefully it'll be in the first two weeks of January, and we can get the first guest on. But yeah, I'm mega excited about it. It'll be good. Just to give me a bit more focus about when I do things and when I do these live streams, because often they're just sort of like, let's do a live stream, So
it's one of those, isn't it? I mean, I remember when I was a kid, you knew that your Saturday mornings you were getting up at a certain time to make sure you caught the episode of Mask, because that's what you wanted to watch. So if you've got that sort of, well, I know 2 weeks from now I'm going to have a vintage collection show to look forward to, you make sure it becomes appointment viewing again, doesn't it? Which I think it's good to have some of that in there. It's like The Mandalorian. You just look at that. All of us ready there, Friday mornings, Thursday nights for you lot in the US, ready for that episode to drop. So it's absolutely.
I hope so.
Bit of structure to it.
If anyone's got any comments in the to put in the comments about when they think the best day would be. I mean, I had Saturdays penciled in. It's the weekend, people aren't at work, or most people aren't at work. So let me know in the comments what you think about the day. I mean, hopefully I won't get like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from different people. But I've just got to David Southern, thank you very much, my friend, for the super chat, and hello there. It's good to see you here, mate. You're always here, so thanks for the support.
General Kenobi. No, he's the other chap. He's not on tonight. He's taking a break for this one. But, wow. Speechless, mate. I'm looking forward to that, though. It should be good. It should be very, very good. Just to sort of open it up a little bit, I think the next time we're likely to get any sort of announcements from Hasbro is what, Toy Fair, February sort of time?
I would say so, yeah.
So we've got a couple of months where we are going to have to talk amongst ourselves and keep the conversation going that way before we get any reveals, I imagine. Mondays have come to an end. So is there anything else that might be? I'm not missing anything, am I? It is sort of
Toy Fair, but there'll be rumors flying around and what have you. And as I say, we can always talk about the theme of that week. So and just reflecting like we're going to reflect in a minute about we're going to talk about the year gone by. Now we're at the end of the year, and how we feel it's gone, and what you were pleased with, what you were hoping for that didn't happen, that kind of stuff. I mean, we can do that now, actually. We can do that now.
Onto that. 2020. What a year. I don't think any of us foresaw quite where we'd be now a year ago, did we?
No.
It's, very, very strange world that we're living in. I saw something the other day, and it's 10 years from now, you'll reach into your pocket and pull out a mask, and go, 2020, what a weird year that was.
Yeah.
As you pick up your machete and wander across the wasteland. So yeah,
just a note on that. Actually, I want to thank a lot of people. Some of them might be in the chat, but I've had a lot of really nice personal messages sent to me saying things like, really appreciated your content this year. It's helped me get through this year and all that kind of stuff. And like that sort of thing to me is, I love that, because and I kind of say this back to them, sort of like, making this content has given me a focus as well. So it's helped me get through the year. It's been a really weird year for everybody. I'm sure there might even be people that have lost people or whatever, which is obviously horrendous. But people stuck at home, bored, and making videos has sort of kept me focused on something. And some of the people that have just said, thanks for doing it. And I would say it's my pleasure, but I do it for that reason, but also because it sort of helps me.
I can only echo that, mate. I mean, I picked up the camera again earlier this year because of that. It was cooped up indoors. You're seeing the same faces every day. It was a good way to get out there and interact with other people again in a slightly different medium. So yeah, absolutely, 100%. Thank you to those of you who are over on my channel, for Tim for having me on these live streams in the past. It's made a difference to me. So if any sort of entertainment has come back to your way, fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Doug North there's just said, is the Sunday show continuing? Yep, 100%, mate. The Arsepost bounty will continue. All my other content will stay the same. I'm still going to be making videos. This is just literally extra. Basically, it's a live stream that's scheduled in, so it's the same every 2 weeks. Same time on the same date, but every 2 weeks. Hopefully every 2 weeks. On top of all the stuff that I already do, but because as I said, sometimes the live streams are a bit, let's do it. I've got a spare hour. Let's just do a live stream, or me and Nick, Only One Kenobi, might be talking and say, should we do a live stream next week? And I was on his show just last week. It's kind of like that. This gives me a bit more of a focus to say, right, it's Saturday night. We're doing the Vintage Collection show. What guest have I got on? What are we going to be talking about? And I can actually plan it a bit better. And we've got a lot more to talk about. But all my other videos, reviews, Arsepost bounty, that's all continuing.
Good to hear. Good to hear.
So anyway, Chris, what's your standout release this year for the Vintage Collection?
It's been a funny year for Vintage Collection. I think I really enjoyed the Imperial Troop Transport. There's some fantastic detailing in there for that, but I'm going to go a little bit of a curveball and throw the carbon freezing chamber in there.
Right, that is a curveball.
Now I know it's received a lot of criticism for what's there. But I think once you have got it all together, and if you're lucky enough to have two, which I know is one of the other criticisms of the playset, is that you need two to make it a full set.
Yeah,
it's huge. It's a really big playset once you put it all together. I mean, even if you only have one playset, there's a lot there and a lot of display potential for putting your figures on there. I'm planning on doing quite a bit of LED work with it to really bring it to life. It's a shame that you have to do that, I know, but even with some simple tea lights and what have you under the stairs, you can create quite a dramatic effect with it.
Yeah,
and I think that's what they've gone for with it. It wasn't so much a play set as it was a display stand.
Yeah. And I said the same. I said exactly that in my review of it. I think it just looks a bit plain if you don't have the lights. And I know a lot of people in the community have done some amazing things with it to make it, to bring it to life and to make it look good. It is missing a few major pieces like control panels, and I think the overall quality of it's a bit cheap for the vintage collection, in my opinion. But I know what you're saying. Once you've got it all set up and you've got some lights going on, it is very atmospheric.
Yeah, it is an odd one because, I mean, you mentioned the control panels. Yes, ideally you would have had one with it, but I think in the ideal world they'd have re-released the Ugnaught that came with a control panel, and that would have been your way of getting it that way. I'm fortunate enough that I do have the Legacy Collection Ugnaught, so I've already got the control panel to put on it.
Yeah.
For me, the big missing thing was the claw at the top. I think could have done with that.
Very difficult for them to do the claw, though, wasn't it?
And that's exactly the thing.
It'd be quite a spindly little, you either make it a $200 set with a really strong piece,
yeah,
or you cheap out on it and make it a really sort of thing that will break quite easily,
Yeah, I appreciate it's a very difficult thing to have done. Maybe that would have been the way to go with the HasLab being the 40th anniversary of Empire, to get that out there as a big play set with all singing, all dancing, lights, sounds, all that. Even maybe a mister like they did in the Black Series Force Awakens centerpiece thing. Maybe that would have been the way to go. But obviously they went the Razor Crest, which I'm happy with. So yeah, can't complain on that. But yeah, no, like I say, bit of a curveball there. But I'd say to anybody out there that who's just written it off, just give it a second look before you completely say no. Especially as, I mean, I was able to get my second one for half price.
Yeah.
So once it's like that, once it's like that, absolutely makes perfect sense to go and grab it. Go on, what was yours then? Because like I say, a massive curveball there for you. What would have been yours?
I don't know. It's difficult. I was just about to ask you what your figure was, but the Falcon for me. I mean, I didn't have the original Falcon, or I do have the original Falcon in its box, the vintage collection one. But this I've got it next to me here. This big thing. That is an amazing thing. I know it's really expensive. The Slave one as well. I thought they did a really good job with the Slave one and the weathering on it and stuff like that.
It's interesting you've picked two repacks.
I know, but also I'll tell you something. And when I first got the ATST Raider, I was like, this, it's having problems with it standing, and I wasn't really sure about it. But my son got it for Christmas, and I think the one I've got is just a little bit loose. It needs the joints tightening up.
Yeah.
Because his one, I just immediately put it all in, and it stood there, and it looks great, and the figure that you get with it's good as well.
If you are doing anything with those legs on that, tiny adjustments. Because it's very easy to just twist and crack. It's done for then. But yeah, tiny adjustments. You can tighten the legs up on that, definitely.
And what about a figure for you? What's your figure of what's your standout figure of the year?
Well, without giving away spoilers for one of your recent videos, it has to be the figure, not the card back, the figure that was voted number one. That Din Djarin and Child.
Spectacular, that, isn't it?
Fantastic set. Because absolutely. In fact, just give me 2 seconds. Now, I know one of the criticisms you had of the figure was that you couldn't put his rifle on the back. It's a bit too tight there. At the same time as his jetpack.
Have you managed to do it, have you?
Yep. The trick is you push it through the hole on the strap, but not through the hole on the back in his back.
Ah, right.
And it just sits off to one side like that. So, pro tip for all of you out there.
I've got a variant of this figure, right? So, my original one of these, which I opened for the review, I gave to my son. and I've only just recently opened mine to go in my cabinet. I've got one carded on the wall, and I'm sorry about the people in the chat that haven't got this yet, because I know the guys in the States have had a real issue getting this figure. So I'm not trying to rub your nose in it or anything, but mine's weird because you've got the Mudhorn thing on the arm plate, on the shoulder plate.
Yes.
Well, when I got mine out of the packaging, I moved his left arm up, and my shoulder thing pinged off, and I was like, oh, great. So I went to glue it on, and I thought, why is that not sitting on there properly? And it's because there's the back of it. Can you see the Mudhorn on it?
Yeah.
So it's weird because the paint apps are the same. So I've compared it with my son's. The paint apps are exactly the same, but they just used the wrong piece and put it on backwards and then painted it correctly.
They'll never know.
He's got a Mudhorn this way and a Mudhorn that way on his armor, but yeah, that was a bit odd. So that's that anyway.
Is he your pick for figure of the year as well?
He was, until I got my hands on Moff Gideon and the Armorer, and I can't split between those three, because I think if Moff Gideon had a soft goods cape, he would be number one.
Yeah,
I think that figure's unbelievable. The head sculpt, much better than the Black Series in my opinion. And the armor is just a beautiful figure, glorious figure. And my son actually posed in with in a really good pose, with like the hammer thing behind her head and her head turned and her whole body swinging. And I was like, oh, can you do that for mine in my cabinet? We're really good at that sort of stuff, Whereas I just get them and I just put them in like that'll do.
Yeah, done. Job done. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think one of those three. Of course, you've got Luke Jedi as well, but he's officially last year, really, isn't he? So,
well, the sculpt certainly is from last year. Yeah, in that 3-pack, absolutely. Yeah, it's no cracking figure, that one.
He's my card back of the year, the Luke Jedi.
Yes, yeah, that was who got my vote as well, on your recent poll. I think some of the card backs I've struggled with this year. They've leaned in to a lot of the photoshopped ones, which I'm not so keen on. I appreciate that we still had some dodgy airbrushed ones back in the 70s and 80s, but I've always preferred it when they've got a still from the TV show, from the film, that works on the card back. The Luke one definitely got my vote on that.
The Mando build-up pack card back is awful.
Yeah,
it is just awful. Out of focus, stretch, something's going wrong with it. It's just great. A lot of them are grainy because I think that's the aesthetic that they're going for. But this one is just outright out of focus. I can't believe it got through quality control, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean it's a difficult one in the first place because you've only got a narrow edge of the card back to put the image in anyway. But with that being the case, I think even more reason to get a decent photo in there. It's a shame.
If you look at the Armorer card back, she's facing that way towards the bubble, and she would probably fit in that space that they've used for the Mando one. So I don't understand why you can just get an image of Mando facing that way and just have him there. It's just sometimes I don't understand. Who sits there and goes, "Yep, that's brilliant."
Well, I mean, I think this is something that the pressure group, as you put it earlier, needs to be shouting about.
Well, we got the pet card changed, didn't we?
Well, exactly, and it's one of those things that we're passionate about the vintage collection, not just because of the super articulated action figures. We were getting that in the Black Series, line, 30th anniversary, legacy. We were getting those then. Part of the charm, part of the reason that the vintage collection is so popular is that card back. It is the vintage style card back. So the images that you get on there and the style of it is very important. I think sometimes Hasbro get that. Sometimes it's ignored, as it were. Unfortunately.
Yeah, they and I've heard them talk about this, about the aesthetics of the card back and how there's a balance and a line between vintage, and modern. So they it's obviously from a modern show, a modern media, The Mandalorian, but they're on vintage cards, and as you say, a lot of the vintage cards were a bit grainy, and some of the customs that I see online, they're just outstanding, amazing, especially on Instagram on a high def screen. They look incredible, but when you step back and say, okay, yeah, amazing artwork, you've done, that's the image I would pick, sort of thing. They do look too new, they look too polished. And I think there is that line where you need to sort of say this is the vintage collection, and as our guys at Hasbro have said, it is a fine line between, what they're doing. But I think just on some of them, they've just gone far too the wrong way. That Din Djarin one is a good example. The Luke Yavin is another one. Yeah. I mean, if they managed to get the Leia Yavin so perfect, which is a little bit grainy, but it's a great image, why couldn't they have done that for the Luke Yavin? Why is that such a terrible image?
Well, absolutely. And I think the annoying thing is we've all seen better images of that Yavin, Luke in his Yavin outfit, that could have worked brilliantly on that card back. So it's frustrating and a little bit just why can't you do it? Why have you come up with this? And it seems to be creeping in quite a bit. The Han Stormtrooper was another one.
Yeah,
you looked at and you just went, "What's gone on here?"
Yeah,
it's such a shame. But
well, from that poll that I did, we also did worst figure and worst card back. So there'll be an interesting video to see the results of that. Believe me, because there's some corkers in there.
So you've closed that off now. I take it you've closed off the voting on that.
Yeah, I've closed off the voting. Yeah, we got over 500 entries, or nearly 500 entries, which I thought, it was going for a couple of weeks. So I thought that was a good result.
Yeah, and are you willing to reveal your worst picks, or are you saving that for that video?
My worst card back. Oh, Han Solo's Stormtrooper's up there. It's up there. I don't know if it's number one, but it's up there.
It's
it's
definitely got to be up there. I'm afraid it's.
I think there might be worse card backs than that, but I think that's the biggest disappointment.
Yeah,
because it's Han Solo in Stormtrooper outfit. It's not like a pod racer that they're doing here that they've messed up. It's Han Solo in Stormtrooper.
No, that really is one of those that we should have got in the Kenner 78 to 85 run. It's if you're going to do the Luke, they should have done the Han to go with him. So yeah, that's just a real missed opportunity on that one. But yeah, odd one.
Hi, Stephen. I'm just gonna. I've missed loads of comments because we've been talking and stuff. But
sorry.
No. It's what we're here for. But I do want to get people involved. What's the big announcement? I've already done the announcement, so it's on the screen there, mate. It's up to you whether you think it's a big announcement or not. But we're going to be doing a series of live streams called the Vintage Collection Show next year, with some what I feel are big names in the community. So I'm looking forward to it.
It's regular chats with those characters as well. So yeah, should be good.
Han Stormtrooper cardback image is disappointing. Yeah, certainly is. Thank you, B Hollywood. Appreciate it, mate. We're flying here. We've got lots of people viewing. So, okay. So, what about what you were hoping for that didn't happen, Chris?
Hoping for that didn't happen this year. Something somebody said to me earlier, well, the other day actually, they were saying next year is the 5th anniversary of Rogue One, so you should be getting loads of vintage collection stuff. And I had to bite my tongue and say, well, this year was the 40th anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back. We got next to nothing. No. We got the carbon freezing chamber. We got a couple of repacks, and that was about it. What was it? We got the Stormtrooper on an Empire card in that carbon freezing chamber, which wasn't really a look back to the heritage stuff. That was a massive missed opportunity for me. Yet over in the Black Series, you've got another 12, 15 figures from The Empire Strikes Back, plus a Snowspeeder, plus a Wampa, plus all sorts of other bits and pieces. And then almost to rub it in our faces, you've got the retro collection with 6 figures, including Lando Calrissian, who we all want, updated on a vintage card back. So for me, the biggest disappointment was just what a waste, what a missed opportunity Hasbro have done with The Empire Strikes Back.
I totally agree. I mean, we've got to sort of put a bit of a thing in there. That's, you know, the Black Series did get a lot, but it was a lot of repacks. I think there was 3 waves of the carded figures, wasn't there?
Mm-hmm.
And I think so. That's 12. I think there's 12, wasn't there? No. How many figures were in each wave? 6. So it's 18 card backs, wasn't there?
Yeah,
and I think like 95% of them were repacks.
We had the brand new Hoth Rebel Troop, new Luke Snowspeeder pilot.
And that's it.
Were they the only 2 new ones?
I think so. Yeah. Well, you had Luke Dagobah, but he had already come out with the Yoda figure.
He had, yeah.
So I know they did get a lot, but could you imagine the uproar if our whole vintage collection 40th anniversary was just a bunch of repacks? People would go mad. I mean, we got that repack wave, and everyone moaned about that. You know.
Well, we did, but they were all repacks that had already been in the vintage collection, and I think that was the problem. It wasn't picking sensible characters like Bespin Security Guard, Ugnaught, doing a brand new Lando or a brand new Lobot. There's plenty of characters they could have picked and released, and even some of the characters that are from that have already been released in Legacy Collection, 30th anniversary. I mean, I'd have been happy with a Wedge Antilles Snowspeeder pilot on a vintage card. I've seen the custom one that Nick Only One gave away a while ago. Looked fantastic. I'd love one of those in my collection, but like I say, missed opportunity for a lot of that.
I totally agree with you that the vintage collection just got sidelined when it came to the 40th anniversary of the. But I think when we're comparing it, we've got to be a bit careful when comparing it to the Black Series, because the Black Series did get a lot of repacks, but you know, it's repacks of figures but on vintage style cards, and people like the vintage style cards. So
yeah,
you know, and there's a couple of new figures in there. I think just in general, we need more new, don't we? Instead of loads of repacks, you know, and that goes for both lines.
We absolutely do. But again, I think it was missed opportunities to do some sensible repacks, which we all accept that repacks are. I say we all. Most of us accept that repacks are essential to allow new figure sculpts to be brought out. It helps balance out the cost of a wave and so on and so forth. What's the frustrating bit is that they're holding back a lot of the figures that we do want to be reissued. Echo Base Trooper, I know goes for money, and he's a great figure, cracking figure. I already own one carded, one loose. I'd buy more. So it's not. I think that's the annoying bit for me on that.
Boba, I do leave them live, but they're in a playlist. So if you go to the playlist, there's a playlist called live streams, and they're all in there. But I do unlist them from my main channel, because what tends to happen is it sends people notifications that there's a new video, and it's like a live stream they've missed, and that can annoy some people. So I unlist them, but put them in a playlist, so you can still find them, and they're all there on the channel. For me, the biggest, I've gone through this whole year wanting a Queel, a vintage card, and I just cannot believe that we haven't even seen it yet.
Yeah.
I mean, for God's sake, why can't we even just see a digital representation of it? He was one of the main characters in Series 1, which seems like a lifetime ago now. IG-11 as well, but particularly Queel. And again, what you talked about with rubbing salt in the wounds, when we got the vintage retro collection line, rather, he's in that.
Yeah.
That's just like, what's going on?
I absolutely feel your pain on that. What do you think is the reason behind Hasbro not getting on board with characters like Queel, IG-11 in the vintage collection? Any clue on what the rationale behind that is?
I don't know. I was counting the figures that we've got from the Mandalorian this year, and they've all been this year because we got the first wave back in April. So you've got the Mandalorian, Cara Dune, Remnant Stormtrooper. You've got Din Djarin, Incinerator Trooper, Moff Gideon, Armorer, Mandalorian, Beskar. So that's 8.
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got the one that came in the ATST Raider. So that's 9 figures. And then you've got the 4 carbonized figures.
Mm-hmm.
So not 9 figures, call it, right? But the point is, I just don't understand why they couldn't even show it to us. They showed us Bespin Leia because they knew that when they brought out that carbon freezing chamber, everyone would go, well, where's Bespin Leia? She's not even on the box.
Yeah.
And they quickly put a digital representation of that. Why can't they just do that with Queel? Why can't they just say, here you go, this is what's coming? Because everyone knows we're going to get that figure. It's not like a hidden secret, is it?
Well, absolutely. He's an important character in season 1. Obviously important enough that the Black Series got a version of him. I think Hasbro have sort of paid a bit of attention to some of the flack they got for the digital sculpts. When they showed those up, I did see a lot of comments online along the lines of, God, they're only showing us digital things. Why can't you show us proper stuff? Is that all you've got for us? So I don't know if it's a bit of a reaction to that, so that they're not showing quite so many of those. And I think they are still playing catch up with a lot of it. From your video about your open letter, I should say, about more new vintage collection figures. They're still playing catch up, and from that is kind of what I feel from that side of things.
Here we go. Look, Michael Krem, don't forget Quill's in the Mission Fleet line with a blurg. I mean, yeah, it's just astounding to me. Hi there, Mark. Oh, sorry, you weren't here for the. So basically, I'm just going to be doing a vintage collection show every couple of weeks, starting in January, with some guests that I class as big names in the community. Yak Faces, Jason, rather, from Yak Faces is coming on. Victoria's Cantina, Bantha Skull, people like that, to talk about the vintage collection. So I thought that was a worthy of a big announcement. Sorry, lost where I was there. But the Mission Fleet have got Queel. What?
And a blurg.
No, I do know that 2020 has been a weird year, okay, and that's weird for everyone, weird for companies. You know, a lot of the guys at Hasbro have been furloughed and they're working from home and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of the stuff that we're seeing in 2020 would have been done last year. So, and I know that because they haven't had the big conventions to do, where you would get maybe 5-6 reveals, that they've gone for this drip feeding thing where you get 1 on this live stream, 2 on that live stream. You know, Mando Mondays, you might get a couple, and then over the Mando Mondays stretching 8 weeks or whatever it was in the end, you get X amount of figures revealed. And so, some of the weeks where there was nothing at all for Hasbro, just a Nerf gun or something, everyone was kicking off on Instagram going, where's this, where's that? But I never expected them to give us something every week. But I did expect by the end of it that I would have at least seen Queel and IG-11. And I just can't believe that we haven't seen those yet. It's just...
No, that is a bit perplexing, to be honest. Because like you say, they are characters that they've already got in Black Series. They're showing up in other lines. Retro, Mission Fleets, all that sort of stuff. It's easy stuff that should be out there already.
Is Bella's toy chest coming on? If she'll come on, yeah. Classic. Shall I invite her? She'd probably come on, actually.
I'm not familiar with Bella's toy chest, I'm afraid.
Are you not?
No, that's lost on me.
After this stream, you go check her out.
Okay, we'll do. Yeah. We'll do.
And then let me know. Let me know what you think.
Okay. Yeah. It has been an odd year. And I think some of the way that they've released that information, it's had knock-on effects. I've noticed some of the UK suppliers have been quite vocal about the fact that by announcing Bespin Leia at one point, then Fett a bit later, then the Child, and dripping them out like that, the pre-orders go up.
Yeah.
One at a time.
Yeah.
They're all in the same case, but you can't reveal what's in the case until they've all been revealed. So when it comes to all of those deliveries arriving in the warehouse to ship out, they're sending 5 separate packages to the same person. Takes longer on their end, costing you more money postage-wise. It's a bit of a mess. Whereas if you got the full wave all in one go, there it is, go pre-order it. Easy. Works easier for us as collectors because we get it all in one go. Works easier for the dealers because they get it all out of the way in one go. Frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, so the pre-order goes up for, say, Darth Vader months ago. And I put in my pre-order for that and I pay postage on that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then you put in a pre-order for the next one, you pay postage. I ended up paying postage 5 times or 4 times, and they don't return the postage. And then Bob's your uncle, they all come in the same box. Yeah. So, you know, where's that money gone for my, you know, I'm not moaning about the retailers because that's the way, unfortunately, it's been done. You know, I would much rather them just announce a wave, and I'm sure the retailers would as well.
Absolutely.
And I think we've said on this live streams before, I think it was it 2018 or 2019 where they actually showed that calendar where it said April VC, you know, 134, 135, 136, and then they had the names next to them, and then it would go down August, September, blah blah blah, and then it would get to August and it would just be VC 151 without a name. And then when they start revealing stuff and they fill in the names, but a lot of it was on there already, so you kind of knew what was coming, and you also knew how many waves there were. And that's why last or earlier this year I got so annoyed because we had nothing like that from Hasbro. So we didn't know how many waves were coming. We had to go by in-demand toys basically and looking on what's coming for them or Jason Yakface's website to show what he knows is coming, you know. And when I saw there's like 3 waves, I was like, nah, this ain't happening, you know. 3 waves, you're kidding me, right? And the first one's in April, we had to wait 4 months of the beginning of the year to get a new wave of figures.
Yeah, it's mad. It's mad. Just to caveat that slightly, going back to 77, 78 and what have you, I think, what was it, the first year there were 12 figures.
Yeah.
So it could be worse.
Oh yeah, I mean back then there was no internet or anything. You just had to go to the shop and hope they had something new, you know.
Absolutely. But no, I'm obviously pulling your leg. It's the demand is there for more figures. I think Razor Crest has proved that. Hopefully they seem to be listening. Hopefully more is on the horizon. I guess we'll find out a bit more at Toy Fair in February as to what's actually coming down the pipe.
See, what I'm a little bit worried about is that the Razor Crest is coming out in November or whatever, and they promised that we'd get all the figures interacted with the Razor Crest. So potentially they could leave us to get Queel and IG-11 till then. And judging by the waves, what I've seen of what's coming out when, potentially we might have to wait that long.
Well, they could do. I think some of it is not knowing that it's coming. I mean, yeah, we highly suspect, and with what they've said, everyone that interacts, you will get that figure. But until you've seen it, until you see it, it's not real. It's not guaranteed. I suppose if they announced Queel at Toy Fair, but he wasn't coming till the end of the year, I'd be okay with that. Be a bit frustrating that we'd have to wait the year, but he's on his way. That's fine. He's already a year late, so what's another 12 months on top of that? I think it's
Delving said, I hope they're listening, but we've been saying we want more for years. Back the Razor Crest and did strong position. What more can we do? Well, this is why I'm one of the reasons why I'm doing the live streams with people that are in the community that do have a voice. So, for example, Victoria's Cantina and Chris from Bantha Skull, they get to go on the Hasbro Q&As, so they can actually put our questions, hopefully, to Hasbro. And I know they're a bit flaky with their answers or whatever. And also, when I went to Toy Fair, you do mix with these people, and you sort of say to them, you know, what about a X figure? What about this? You know, and off the record, they might say something or whatever. But if you're just in their ear all the time, vintage collection, then you know, hopefully it's gonna be enough.
I think some of the difficulty is this figure, like you say. And you mentioned earlier over on Instagram, you've got massive fans of Jedi Fallen Order wanting figures from that in the vintage collection. Me, I'm mainly original trilogy, Mandalorian, Rogue One sort of stuff is where my focus lies. Equally, you've got people who are into the prequels who want third random Jedi from the left releasing in the vintage collection. It is give it to how difficult to kind of get a general consensus as to what collectors really want. I think that's something we've always struggled with.
I'm in an Instagram group with a lot of the guys that I've mentioned, and they put that group together because they wanted to sort of have like a collective voice. And I said I'm really up for it, and I'll do what I can, my end. But I did say we've got to be a bit careful because, from my experience, everyone wants different things, you know. And the way they were sort of saying some of the things that they wanted, I was like, well, to be honest, if that takes a slot away from this figure, for example, then I you know, it's a no-brainer for me. It's quite easy to sort of say I want this, this, and this, and this. But if you already know there's 30 slots for the year, for example, then you do kind of need to be a bit selective, you know, on your wants and needs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, and Chris has said this from Bantha Skull on a few occasions, that it's really not difficult. When you say to them, we want more new figures, it really isn't that difficult. And they've shown that they can do it because, Moff Gideon, Armorer, the Mandalorian, Cara Dune, they are new figures. And those aren't difficult choices. They're just figures from the show that everyone's going to want,
Yeah.
So it can't be really that difficult when you've got God knows how many people screaming from the rafters saying, we want more figures, we want more new figures. They've just got a wealth of media to look at and go, well, I mean, look at the Boba Fett next year. Brand new Boba Fett. There's not one person on this planet that doesn't want that. It's such a figure that's needed updating for years, and then finally you're getting it on that card back. Nobody in their right mind has gone, actually, I didn't really want that. Well, I don't think there is anyway. I mean, it's a pretty, they'll sell thousands of it, and there's just plenty of characters out there that are like that they would make an absolute fortune with.
There are, and I think but that also leads into some of the problems that they've got. You mentioned Boba Fett. Obviously, we've got the update to the Return of the Jedi outfit coming up. We've also now got 3 more outfits from The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
You've got his Sand People disguise, or for want of a better word, his rusty old Boba Fett armor, and his nice new clean paint job armor.
Yeah.
But 3 Boba Fett figures, which they're going to hit, but we'll probably get all 3 of those before we get Cosca Reeves.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
that's where the frustration is.
I mean, personally, what I think they should do with that is they should give us Nomad Fett on the Mandalorian card, with potentially like clip-on armor. I mean, that's probably a want too far, but they should save the painted Fett for next year or 2022 when the Book of Fett is there, And I'm worried that they'll save Fennec Shand for that as well.
I was going to say, I suspect that's probably what they will do.
Yeah.
But on the plus side, at least with that, you may have 2 figures actually hitting store shelves at the same time that the series is released.
Yeah.
Rather than a year later when potentially everyone's forgotten about it.
Yeah. It's the same with Ahsoka as well. Ahsoka from The Mandalorian, we'll probably get her when the Ahsoka show starts, because I know we are set to get an Ahsoka next year.
Yeah.
But it's based on Series 7 Clone Wars. So, they're kind of like a bit behind with that, aren't they? I personally would rather have Ahsoka looking like she does in The Mandalorian, because she's going to look like that in her own show. I'd rather have that on a Ahsoka card, because she's only in 1 episode of The Mandalorian. It's like the Marvel model, isn't it? They've like put her in there to introduce her and then say, now you've got your own show. Same with Fett, really.
Yeah, it is. I don't have a massive issue with that. In and of itself, it introduces new characters, takes them along the way. And let's face it, Mandalorian is huge. It's reached more of the general public than arguably the sequel trilogy did.
Yeah.
Certainly the latter episodes. I don't know how many of the general public know who General Holdo is, for argument's sake. Whereas quite a lot of them know who Baby Yoda and Ahsoka Tano are.
Yeah.
So it as far as that goes, it's keeping that thing moving. I think that may cause us slightly different problems in and of itself. If you've got 10 series, 11 series coming up, how are Hasbro going to keep up with new?
Well, they've got
characters from all of in Black Series and Vintage Collection.
They've got to make more. They've got no choice. They'll have to make more. If you've got 4 shows running in 1 year, they have to make more figures. They've just got to. And I don't see why they can't. at the moment they've got they always talk about an embarrassment of riches, which they do have, because they can go back to the OT, they can go to the PT, they got the ST, they got the Mandalorian, you've got the expanded universe. There's an embarrassment of riches to choose, but it's going to get to a point where they're going to just have to give you the main characters of what the media is on, and then just give you a couple of the other figures here and there.
I don't think you're going to get those other figures. I think with it being that large, I mean, you look at the Black Series, for example, they don't have the depth of figure selection that the 3.75 inch line has.
I still think you'll get like
they're still releasing God knows how many versions of him.
Like I think they'll probably do 2 of the 96 a year or something.
I really hope so, at least. But I think we're a long way off completing the 96.
But the thing is, they don't. I know for a fact they don't want to finish the 96 too quickly, because you've got people that are only collecting the vintage collection because they want the 96 done, and then once they've got those 96, they'll stop and they'll go, I've got those now, and okay, I've collected these along the way and I might sell them now, but just dropping them here and there, that's how they're going to do it.
I do know what you mean, and yes, I've heard collectors say that exactly that line. Once I've got the 96, I'm done.
I get a lot of people in my comments saying, I've only just started collecting because of the Mandalorian, for example. But that's because it's so close to the OT and it reminds them of the OT. They're not bothered about prequels, they're not bothered about sequels, but the Mandalorians hit them, in the sweet spot because it's so connected to the original trilogy.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and it's very much in the same vein as the original trilogy. A lot of the way that the stories are told and so forth. But the other side of it is that you've got those that will collect the original 96. But if Hasbro are doing their job right, and in some cases they definitely are, the figures are of such high quality that people go on collecting. Yes, I've got the 96, but heck, this guy's amazing. Some of those Jabba's skiff guards that we got, for example, they were never in the original 96, but the figures are great quality.
Yeah.
You want them in your collection. You want to continue. Collectors are going to collect.
I think those will be in limited supply.
Well,
you'll have to have like an anniversary to get a few of those.
Yeah, and that is my concern, because we've said it before. The reason that Disney had Star Wars franchise to buy in the first place was the toys and the depth of character that Kenner went into. What other toy line were you getting? Certainly at the time, red Snaggletooth, blue Snaggletooth, Hammerhead, Prune Face. What other toy line were you getting that depth of character? It just wasn't there. But no. because we all bought into it, we loved the fact that we had this world that we could play with. That's what kept Star Wars going for years and years and years. It meant Disney actually had something to buy in 2013.
Yeah, and I think the new shows have got to be strong enough to carry that torch, So the Mandalorian, if 5 of the 10 shows that are coming out are as strong and as good as the Mandalorian, then of course you're going to have an element of the collecting community that will be disappointed you're not getting a certain skiff guard that you've always wanted, or the Tonica sisters, for example, something like that. But if the shows are as good as the Mandalorian and you're getting Moff Gideons and Armorers and Incinerator Troopers, then will they be as bothered because they've got 3-4 shows that they're well into, they're absolutely loving, and they're getting the figures for? Will they be thinking about a skiff guard as much? No, they won't, will they? Because I think it's only when there's like nothing happening, that's when you're like, well, now give me something that I remember from years ago, sort of thing.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I think they're going to have no choice. They've got to make more even just to service the shows that are going to be out.
Which I hope doesn't in itself cause the death of action figure collecting. If they spread themselves too thinly across all of those shows, are they going to be providing us with enough character depth? If you're only getting 2 characters from a particular series, that's not enough. That's not a display.
Yeah. Well, that was exactly my point about Fallen Order, you see, because the guys were saying, I want, look at the Black, and I said, well, the Black series has only had 4, I think. They got Cal Kestis, some trooper, and the baddie Inquisitor, is it, or Seven Sister or something like that, and then a repaint of the trooper in the Game and Greats line. I think that's it.
Was it? Yeah, there was a Scout Trooper, wasn't there?
And a Scout Trooper, yeah. But that's the thing, you see, because I'm not going to say this and put myself into a Black Series collector's shoes, but from the face of it, I don't think Black Series collectors necessarily care about characters' depth and world building and stuff, because you can't have the AT-AT, you can't have the Millennium Falcon, you can't do this, that, and the other. So they're just happy that, as long as I get the main character from that show and a couple of troopers or something, I'm reasonably happy, Whereas we 3.75, as you say, you want the bartender and you want everything that goes with it, but that's not going to happen anymore, is it? So
no. And that, like I say, that's the bit that's disappointing, or concerning at the very least, that we're not going to get those characters. I still want Tame Drengarin from Jabba's Sail Barge. Maybe for the 40th, if they remember about the vintage collection in that year. Is that something we need to start looking at and start the conversations with Hasbro about, to say, look, it's the Return of the Jedi 40th anniversary in 2 years' time. We know it takes 18 months for production to a figure to go from design to production. So do we need to be talking to you, Hasbro, 2 years in advance?
Well, that's one of the ideas behind the live streams, because each live stream is going to focus on an element of, either it be a film or a show or whatever, but it'll also be a chance for people in the community to put those voices out. I'm not saying that Hasbro are going to be watching it, but they might hear it, or somebody on Instagram might say something or take a nitpick away and start expanding on that. So you're absolutely right. We need to start talking about Return of the Jedi this next year. Early next year, we need to sort of say, look, let's not have another situation of The Empire Strikes Back this year where you did absolutely nothing.
Exactly.
I was quite pleased that they actually did make a point of saying it's the 5th year of Rogue One and we're going to do some bits and bobs about it. It'll probably be the Black series, but
I don't remember that quote being attached to the vintage collection, which is...
You know what they'll do? You know what they'll do for the Black series, and this is the thing, you see. They'll bring out all the figures they've already brought out, like they did with Rebels, and just update the faces.
Yep.
Because Baze Malbus is, and that's another thing about the Black series as well. I don't think they age very well. If you look at some of the early releases of the Black series, some of them are terrible figures, and at the time you thought, wow, this looks amazing, I think the 3 3/4 ones, because they're smaller, they sort of get away with a bit more,
Yeah.
So that's what they'll do. They'll go, here's all of the ones that you've already got with new face paint, but also have Bodhi and another figure, and that'll be it. Whereas we want, we need Baze to go with Chirrut, Bodhi, and a few others. Krennic, Blue Leader. There's so many that we need.
Oh, so many that need to be done. I mean, even if you just talk variants of Shore Trooper, they've only done one in Super Articulated. The other two were both 5 POA, and not really good enough. So there's I'm a big Shore Trooper fan, so yeah, I want those variants. Stick them in a 3-pack and get them out. Great, happy days. But I know that's not everybody's cup of tea. But yeah, there's so much that they could be done. Yeah, I really do hope they are.
I'm glad they at least recognised it, and hopefully, you know, we've had Chirrut this year. That was out of the blue, wasn't it? And we've had Vader. So they've kind of already started it.
Yeah, K2
as well. Yeah, so actually Rogue One's been represented quite in a year where we've had the Mandalorian so strong, you know, and had what 10 figures from the Mandalorian. 3 Rogue Ones, that's pretty good, isn't it?
It's not too bad. I mean, I think the slight concern on that is obviously the Imperial hover tank or assault tank, whichever you want to call it. It didn't appear to do as well as they'd have hoped. It's a lovely vehicle, but I did see it clearanced out in a fair few places. Whether that's talking to them and they're going, "Oh, people don't like Rogue One," might be frustrating. But I know the K2 and the Chirrut figures are fantastic, absolutely fantastic figures.
That vehicle was the first vehicle to come out in the Vintage Collection when it came back, wasn't it? And the Vintage Collection didn't exactly go off to a very good start with the wave and what have you. So, you know, people might have been a bit skeptical about even getting back into collecting it. You know.
Yeah.
So I think if they'd released that this year, for example, people would have gone nuts over it. Maybe.
Yeah, that's fair.
And it may be a little bit too expensive, like all of them. You know, a lot of people wait for them to be clearance, don't they? So.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the other bit. I don't know. We'll see. It
is funny the turn of events, because I remember when the Slave One got announced to be re-released, and everyone was like, "It's just a repack. You know, $150, blah 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 blah." As soon as it's in the Mandalorian, everyone's like, "I want one, and I can't get one." And then now they're having to re-release it. You know, and it will be the same. It's exactly the same that they're re-releasing. So.
Yeah, different date stamp, and that's about it, isn't it? But no, I have the first release back from 2012, and it is a lovely ship, absolutely gorgeous ship. It's funny. I mean, going back to the top, you were saying that the Falcon and the Slave One were your 2 picks of the year, your 2 favourite items from the Vintage Collection.
From a vehicle point of view, yeah.
From a vehicle point of view, yeah. And I got to say, the year I had the Slave One, that was my favourite item from the Vintage Collection. When I picked up my Legacy BMF, that was my favourite item from the line. So, absolutely, they are great vehicles in and of themselves. It's really interesting how Hasbro's model is to work them back into the line. We'll see what happens. I mean, just spitballing on the vehicle side of things. Is there anything that you'd want to see revisited, re-released that we've had previously?
I had this question at the weekend. Someone asked me, "Do you think they'll do the B-wing, the A-wing again?" And not the A-wing, because I don't think we haven't had the A-wing in the Vintage Collection, but the B-wing and the Y-wing. And I said, I don't think they'll just give you those. They need to be attached to something, you know, they need to be in something. So, you know, the Slave One, okay, it was the anniversary of The Empire Strikes Back, but they would have known it was going to be in, well, they might not have done. Fett might have been a big secret, but then again, Fett was in Series 1, so his little legs jangling anyway. So I don't think they'll just go, here's the re-release of the Y-wing for no apparent reason. You know, I think there has to be some kind of reason, otherwise it won't sell. Whereas if Rogue Squadron, that new Rogue Squadron program was around, I don't know if it's a program or a film, but if that had hit and that had like a bunch of Y-wings in it and a bunch of A-wings and B-wings flying about, then you can bet your bottom dollar then we'll have re-releases of those. No two ways about it.
Well, this is it. That Patty Jenkins movie is still a couple of years off, isn't it? It's a
movie, right? Yeah,
it is a movie. Yeah,
right.
I mean, I'm hoping it picks up after Return of the Jedi and goes on from there. I loved the books when they came out several years ago, and initially it was mainly just a squadron of X-wings, but as the books went on, they introduced A-wings, Y-wings, B-wings into the mix. I think it was in the Wraith Squadron books, which was sort of follow-up. So, yeah, there's the potential that you might see some of those. But if it's just, I don't need to see another X-wing at this stage. But I would like to see an A-wing in a vintage box. Just going back to the old...
God, yeah. Yeah, 100%. We need that.
Because it's one that hasn't been released in the vintage line, but was back in the Kenner times. So,
but in a droids box, it never came out in the actual line.
No, but there was pre-production stuff for the Power of the Force, which if they really want to pull on the nostalgia strings, I think that's the way to go for me. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, there's no doubt that we need the A-wing in a vintage box. I'm completely with you on that.
Yeah,
but then if they were going to do the 5th anniversary of Rogue One properly, then we'd get a U-wing and we'd get a Blue Leader X-wing.
Yeah, and absolutely a blue Leader X-wing I'd pick up, no problem.
Yeah.
That, but I don't need the 7th Luke Red 5 X-wing. It's too many. But yeah, Blue Leader, absolutely. And I mean, I've still got the 5 POA scaled U-wing, and it is massively underscaled. You scale that up properly, it's going to be a huge beast of a ship. Certainly with the wingspan on it, if they did that in the vintage collection. We'll see. See on that one.
Yeah. So we just gotta, as I say, we just got to put the pressure on as much as we can. That's all we can do.
Well, yeah.
I think there's more voices than there ever has been. If I think anyway, in terms of, because it's maybe it's never been needed before, So back in 2009, 10, you got everything you wanted, We're in a sticky situation now where something needed to be done this year earlier on, and we did that. But as I say, we can't really let that fizzle out and just go, But what I would say is that we can't kick off a moan every time there's a Mando Monday and nothing is revealed, because if they revealed something every week, it just doesn't work like that. I think you've just got to be a bit more sort of measured about it and say, okay, let's look at what we did get through that the whole 8 weeks. Was that enough? Now, I probably think it wasn't.
And that's exactly the problem. Is I think you're right in that expecting something every single week is over the top. But it's when you step back and you look at the whole picture, you're still left wanting. That's where the problem is. That's where the disconnect, and that's where people start getting frustrated about it as well. I think, and just touching back on what you were saying about the voices at the moment are as loud as they've ever been. I think they've kind of had to become loud because 10 years ago, the conversation was in forums. It wasn't on Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and YouTube and it was forums, and that was it. You could read through a thread and get a general consensus of what the community was thinking about. Now you have to visit several different places, and even within that, within Facebook, you've got God knows how many different vintage collectors groups. So to try and get a consensus from all of that when everybody's everywhere else, it's a nightmare. It's no wonder the conversation kind of petered out, because nobody was talking to each other. So it took something like your open letter, Bantha Skull, everyone else getting together and saying with one voice, we want more new in the vintage collection. So I think
they recognised it, but then I think what you can't do is then just expect them to go, here you go. We've had all this plan for the next 12 months, and we're just going to tell you all about it now, because obviously they've got a strategy and whatever marketing strategy, and they've got to have things for this show and that show and whatever, and but as long as they are doing something, then that's the main thing.
I mean, that's exactly it, and it goes back to, like you say, to May, when we kicked up a fuss about 18 months out from that. What's actually hitting the shelf at that time that is a definite, this is a reaction to what happened back in May. So yes.
Oh, you've got a new subscriber.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else that's watching, actually, if there's 180 people watching, if you don't subscribe to Chris, then I think you should. He's got a good channel. He's doing more videos now. So, give him a sub and give him your support.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the endorsement.
Yeah. But no. So that's exactly. And that's, that's one of the reasons why I'm starting the live stream, because I don't want it to fizzle out. And I think everyone's doing their bit. So you've got Chris at Bantha Skull is obviously got his whole website. I think he's got a forum on there, or he's got a lot of people commenting on his posts. He does all the written reviews and whatever. He's got links to Hasbro. He goes on the Q&As. Victoria's Cantina's obviously got a YouTube channel, which has also got 2 podcasts. One that talks about Star Wars in general, and then one that talks about the vintage collection specifically now. John has got his Facebook group with 12,000 members, and we're not naive to think that a lot of people aren't crossing over. A lot of my audience are already members of that group and whatever. So we're never going to know the finite number of how many people we actually have. And then you got the guys over at on Instagram, who are a collection of 4 people that have joined together to do the Star Wars TVC page on Instagram. And they need support from everyone as well. So you've got all these different corners of the community that are willing to do something. I think let me just get the link for Bantha Skull.
Yeah, because I mean, you're absolutely right. You are going to have people that do cross over, but you're also going to have plenty of people out there that don't trust Facebook, full stop.
Yeah.
So they're not going to be on that vintage collection group. You've got some that don't like the way that Instagram is laid out, so they're not going to be over there. I'm assuming most of you on here like YouTube, otherwise you wouldn't be here. But equally, there'll be people on Facebook that don't like YouTube, so on and so forth. So you are going to get various different businesses from everywhere, but you're also going to attract new people from different platforms that can then be introduced to the YouTube, the Twitter, the Instagram, Facebooks, all that sort of thing. So I think they are constantly growing groups as well. And the more noise we make in a positive way, the better.
Yeah. I've just put the link to your channel in the Mark was kind enough to remind me to put the link in there, so I've done that.
Thank you very much.
That's the first link I put in there is obviously Bantha Skull. You can see that, so I'm sure you're aware of their website. And Classic Action Figures says Victoria's Canteen has two podcasts as well as her. Yeah, she has another one that's General Toys. I think she talks a lot about Jurassic Park and all other stuff as well. So awesome.
But it's still interesting to hear what other toy lines are doing compared to the Star Wars toy line as well. So even the non-Star Wars stuff on Victoria's channel is worth a watch. So yeah, absolutely.
There you go. You're getting a few subs here, which is good.
Oh, thank you very much. Yes, we. I think we recently passed 300. So looking to do something when we get to 500. I was saying, and we're on our way. A new video dropped earlier today. Just shameless plug while I'm at it. So something new there to have a look at.
Get you to 1,000 in no time, buddy. Don't you worry.
That's the plan. Thank you very much.
All right, so we've been going an hour and a half now. I didn't really have a time limit planned for this. I I'm not sure if we will do 2 hours. I think we'll wrap it up pretty soon. But yeah, as I say, it's just.
Well, if I may, we've looked back at 2020. What are you hoping for next year?
Well, I'm hoping for a couple more Rogue One figures because it is the anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
I'm hoping for IG-11 and Queel, but I'm also hoping for some characters from season 2.
Mm-hmm.
I would love it if they, on the exclusive for Celebration or whichever one it is, whenever they do the 3-pack. So we got the 3-pack Jedi Lukes, didn't we? And then we got the amazing ARC Troopers. If they could give us a Bo-Katan 3-pack, I would just be blown away by that. So Bo-Katan and her two buddies.
Yeah.
That 3-pack would, again, and it's a shame because it would, it'd be an exclusive, so a lot of people wouldn't be able to get their hands on it, which is the worst thing about collecting.
Mm.
But you can guarantee they'll be on single cards eventually anyway.
Well, yeah, I mean, they'd be 3 all new sculpts, wouldn't they? So yes, to make their money out of it, they'd need to put them out on single cards as well. But yeah, no, absolutely, that's a good shout. That one, definitely. For me, I'm hoping for more play sets. I'm looking forward to the Tantive 4 corridor.
Yeah,
once that comes out. I think that looks really nice. With it being Rogue One, maybe something Death Star-y, maybe just to go along with that. I don't know whether it was a control room or something like that, because you didn't see too much of inside of the Death Star in Rogue One, but something like that would be great. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. Vintage collection, but yes. On a Return of the Jedi box.
Yeah, and then they could repaint it and do it on a Mandalorian as well. I wouldn't bother. I'd buy both.
I'd absolutely buy both, but I really want the Return of the Jedi one again, because it goes back to that completing the 96 and the boxes that go with it. So,
do you think the reason why we haven't got that is because they will need to do a new Biker Scout?
Do they need to?
I think so.
Do you not like it?
I think it's all right, but I do think it's a bit dated.
Well, which one? Because there was the one that was in the Black Series line, which had like a double socket neck. It was one of the first ones to be released with that. Yeah,
but the majority of that figure is the 2000 and is this one, isn't it?
Majority is. There's a lot of reused parts, absolutely, but I think you can still get it into the decent poses that you need to. Not convinced, obviously. Did you get the one with the speeder bike? The Force one.
Yeah.
How did you sit on that? Sorry, sending you around your room. That's the one.
It's brilliant, but you've got the sockets on the arms, they're black. They need to be white.
Well, but that's a simple bit of plastic.
Is the head a bit small?
I never thought it was.
I don't know. I just think that it's the case of like when the Rogue One Stormtrooper came out, that was just such a leap forward.
Okay, yeah, all right. I see where you're coming from.
Before, so I don't know. Maybe they don't. I think if you did, I think you'd get complaints if you did repack that one. To be honest,
I think my concern is I look at the Black Series 6-inch Biker Scout that they've done, and for me, they've completely screwed up the eyes on that. It's much wider. It looks like the ones from Revenge of the Sith. So my concern is if they did upgrade it, as it were, they'd be leaning towards something like that. And to me, that's all wrong. So I don't know. like I say, I'm happy with the sculpt. Just needs the rings sorting in the shoulders.
I mean, the Black Series one's awful, if you ask me. The arm articulation, it's got double hinged elbows, but they just look dodge. It's almost like Luke that came in the Cave of Evil set. They just look, you know, with today's techniques, they can improve it, you know. Yeah, but that's the Black Series anyway.
Yeah.
Here you go. The Legacy and Black Series 3.7 Bike Scout are just fine. We need an update for 6-inch Black Series, which is terrible. Just my expert opinion. Yeah, no, the Black Series one is worse. It is in more need of an update, that is for sure. But I think, I don't know, I've talked about repacking that Bike Scout before, and a lot of people have just gone, no, we need a new one. But there's 100% the pins on the thing need.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I'm
you say it's an easy thing to do, but I bet you would get that snaggletooth with the wrong coloured knee joints.
Yeah.
I bet you do.
Yeah, and this is something that they've been doing for years. It should be a simple thing. I think I did see Adam Paulus touch on it at one point, in that it comes down to a production cost somewhere on the line. Like it costs an extra penny just to squirt the plastic into a slightly different mold to get the right colour ring.
Yeah. But you mentioned it earlier about the Tantive set. I'm really looking forward to that. I mean, I know a lot of people have said it's just a corridor, but I think people have made those themselves for years, you know, for their dioramas or whatever. And people have always said, why don't, Hasbro make an official one?
Yeah.
And as soon as they do, they get killed for it. You know, I think it looks really good. It'll look great on a shelf. Even just the one, just that one corridor with the doorway, you can have Vader coming through it. So I've because Tungori's got a new website, Tungori.com, and I went on there and I bought 3 Rebel Troopers, Rebel Fleet Troopers, and 3 Rogue One Stormtroopers.
Yeah,
and obviously we've got your choice of Vaders. You can either use the new one from Rogue One, or you can use the Black Series. Revenge of the Sith one, or VC93 if that takes your fancy. But I wanted some extra Stormies and some extra Rebel Fleet Trooper, because I definitely want that nice. I think it'll look really cool. So that's something to look forward to next year. I mean, early next year as well, hopefully.
Yeah,
maybe even January.
Yeah, that's not too far off. But like you say, that sort of set, you don't need to have all of the others. You can just have the one piece on its own and it'll look fantastic. But if you're so inclined and you want to do both sides of the corridor plus the back side plus a corner, you can really go to town with it. Like they say, it could potentially unlimited expansion.
I think it's pretty good. Lil Pookie's put, definitely new Bike Scout mold, needs wrist articulation, rocker ankles, and just an overall better definitive mold. Something to rival V. That's what I think. Thank you, Lil Pookie. You agree with me? No, I know what you mean. You look on the face of it, it looks okay,
Yeah.
But I think I personally think, after looking at that Rogue One Stormy, we're past okay now. We want perfect, definitive.
I do know what you mean. It's one of those that a new sculpt of that is not my priority.
No.
Stage, which is the thing. If they never released another Biker Scouts, I'd be happy with the one we got. A newer and upgraded one would be nice, and I think that's the difference between the Stormtrooper and the Scout. The old Stormtroopers, they never got the helmet right, not even close. Which is why when that 5POA Rogue One figure came out, people were buying it by the dozen to just take that helmet off and put it onto the super articulated body, because it was such a game changer. It made such a difference. Yeah. I mean, fair enough. If they do that, and I'll hold my hands up. And
I just think that might be the reason why they haven't given us the bike, the speeder bike yet, because it seems quite easy for them to do. Because that one I was flying around a minute ago, without saying repack, it could go straight into the vintage collection. It's just it's fine. There's nothing wrong with that vehicle. It's a great vehicle. I mean, I'm old school. I'd prefer if it did blow up, but just looking at it, it looks great, you know.
Yeah, but I think that's one of the other things with that. That's surprising that it hasn't seen a re-release in 8 years since it was released, because that was an exclusive. That was a Toys R Us exclusive. Didn't make it over here.
No, it didn't.
So they kind of, I mean, I imagine they made their money back on it, but they could have made a hell of a lot more on it, on that same mold. And that's the bit I find a little bit bizarre. Some of the thinking not quite joined up over there. But yeah, we'll see.
But yeah, so, that's what else are you looking? What else are you hoping for?
I'm always looking for OT characters. I think
Squidhead.
Yes, I'd like to see Squidhead updated. But that said, that Power of the Jedi figure is a cracking figure. The sculpt is really good, and for a background alien, it's not the end of the world.
Well, the sculpt from the 1983 one's not too bad, to be honest.
Well, yeah,
it's a decent head sculpt. That
absolutely. So I mean,
on vintage figures that are passable today, you know.
Yeah,
there's a few. There's a video in there. Yoda, for example, great little figure. Yoda is. Yeah. So sorry. What are you hoping for next year?
I probably going to get shot for this as well. I would like a definitive New Hope Luke, and maybe definitive New Hope Leia or Rogue One Leia.
Yeah.
However you want to do it, with ball jointed elbows and what have you. Appreciate their two main characters, but it's difficult to really delve into the background stuff, not knowing where Hasbro are going to go. It seems at the moment their focus is Mandalorian. That's where the money is. That's where Baby Yoda is. That's so it's hard to see
Yoda effect.
Exactly, it's hard to see him straying too far from that. If I can go into those sort of realms, Tame Dren Garen, but that's pipe dream stuff. Maybe during the Jedi 40th anniversary if we're lucky. But like you said earlier, for the Rogue One Blue Leader, it should be made. Absolutely should be made. Yeah. Shore Troopers in variant colours, just because I love Shore Troopers. But it's whether that's realistic or not, I don't know. I think
it's funny that vintage collection Shore Trooper, actually, like you could get him 10 a penny a couple of months ago. I think even In Demand Toys was selling cases. I bought a case. I think they're like $5 each, you know. Now they've been in The Mandalorian. Everyone's like looking at them again and going, "Oh, I could do one of those." And now they're back to their, 15, 18 quid sort of thing.
It's the Mando effect.
Yeah, but it does have that, you know.
Yeah,
like the tank driver, but the green version that they used to disguise themselves. Great outfit, you know. That'd make a good figure, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Oh God, so many options, but
that's talking about that episode. Actually, Mayfeld. We need Mayfeld. But this is what I was saying about like Queel and IG-11. They're just like stonewallers. I mean, they're just a given. You should have those. Whereas Mayfeld was in one episode, the prison episode, which everyone loved, the prison episode, and you could say, "Oh, I want Mayfeld. I want those aliens, the Twi'leks, and all that."
Yeah,
those are probably pipe dreams. But now Mayfeld's been in another episode. He's already had the scan done, hasn't he? He said in his interview he's had the action figure scan done. So that's probably for the Black Series.
He's definitely a possibility now that he's had that the second episode. Potentially Peli Motto as well. From Tatooine. She's a possibility. I'm never sure if the face scan is just for Hasbro or if it goes wider and it's to companies like Sideshow and Hot Toys. And if it's just a case of, right, we've got the scan, got it on file. If anyone ever needs it, done, sort of thing. Whether it does actually indicate that you're getting a figure of that particular character.
Little Pookie's on fire. Look, another one.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
Another one we badly need, you know.
Yeah, I did see someone else suggest the Bad Batch in the comments. They did not resonate with me at all in the Clone Wars episode that we got with them at the start of season 7.
Bit cartoony, weren't they?
It was 4 episodes that I kind of got through. Wasn't really overly invested in it. Yeah, pleased to see Echo at the end of it, but didn't really do too much for me. So I'm hoping that the actual series, when it comes around next year, does have a bit more meat to it when it comes around. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, I'll no doubt pick up the Bad Batch figures if they come out in TVC, but the Black Series ones don't really do anything for me at all.
Death Troopers as well.
Yeah. Have you got enough of those?
Dark Troopers.
Dark Troopers. Sorry, yes. Yeah. Have you got any of those at all? The old?
No, because they even said, "Oh, these are Phase 3 or whatever," didn't they? So the Phase 2 is in the Power of the Force, isn't it? And it's like a silver muscly one, and then you got the Phase 1 in the Legacy Collection, which I prefer the look of, but I don't know. I don't know if I could get myself those Power of the Force ones. They look like Ram Man from Master of the Universe.
Well, there was an updated version in 30th anniversary, I think, wasn't there? I think it was a slightly different
Scott. Actually, yeah. But I still think he was still
very big.
I think they were black though, those ones. They were repainted black.
Yeah, and I think they were quite as well.
These ones look a lot more sort of, robotic, don't they?
Yeah. Well, again, they showed that in the gallery episode, didn't they?
Yeah.
How they actually filmed them. I thought they were completely CG because it was that sort of robotic, but it was interesting to see that it was an actor in a suit and they just painted out the joints, as it were. So yeah, some great stuff in that. And you do have to wonder how much of a heads up Hasbro are getting, because we didn't know about Baby Yoda, Grogu, whatever, until that first episode of Mandalorian aired.
Well, Hasbro didn't either.
Well, exactly, and
they didn't know about Luke either in Force Awakens, but they knew they're given some,
Yeah.
So we got a bunch of Force Awakens figures, but we didn't get a Luke because they didn't want that bit spoiled. So, and the Baby Yoda thing, they didn't want that spoiled, and that's why they had to rush out the Black Series version. They rushed that out pretty damn quick, to be honest.
Yeah.
After we saw it, but they're probably saying to them, right, you need to watch the episode tonight because there's a big reveal we didn't want to tell you about, and you need to immediately get on to.
Yeah. And I can see both sides of it, because obviously there's been things that have slipped out from Hasbro figures in the past, like Anakin's arm being cut off in Attack of the Clones, which was a reveal. Bubba's head, Jango Fett's head, being lopped off, and what have you. So I get that they're trying to keep the spoilers out of it and what have you, but at the same time, you're not seeing these figures available for a year after they've been on screen, at least a year, and that's too long. It's too long.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about the Black Series, but in the vintage collection, we got Mando, Cara Dune, and the Remnant Stormtrooper in April.
Yeah,
but we knew about them in I think they were revealed in January or something. We actually saw them. and that was only like 2 months after the first series aired. But I know what you're saying. When the series airs, that's when you actually want them in your hands. That's the difference. But so Hasbro definitely knew about those characters way before, because they would have been produced back end of or early 2019, you know. So it's just you know, like, we're getting Grief Karga in season 2 garb, aren't we? Whereas the Black Series have already got him in season 1. We have, but and this is my point about Queel. You know, they've given us a digital representation of Grief Karga from season 2. So, you know, where's even an image of Queel? That's the weird thing.
Yeah, and I mean, you're absolutely right. If they've done Grief Karga in the digital image, they haven't really got an excuse not to have shown a Queel who we know has to be coming, except that they're trying to hold some stuff back for Toy Fair.
And
I think
this is it. Yeah.
I mean,
I was saying earlier about them doing drip feeding stuff.
Yeah.
And they you know, but there should be plenty for them to show us at Toy Fair, shouldn't there? There should be so much. Hopefully.
Yeah, should be.
The Toy Fair last year was just awful, you know. I went over there and we got a power droid.
Yeah,
and Luke Jedi, you know. Oh, and the slave one as well.
Yeah, so that was basically a repack and 2 repaints.
Yeah,
which isn't enough. I don't know. I think the other bit is when Mandalorian first came out, there was understandably a certain amount of hesitation on Hasbro's part because, well, Last Jedi toys hadn't performed. They took a step back on solo toys, didn't release as many. As a result, weren't able to be found to be purchased particularly well. And then they didn't release anything at all realistically for Rise of Skywalker. So Mandalorian, I think they were kind of, let's not go all in on this in case it's another flop. So I can kind of understand why there wasn't quite so much out there on day one. But for season 2, you've had a year's worth of stuff to get ready for, to know it's coming. I kind of felt they should be a little bit more, right, here it is, it's going to be with you super fast. There you go, it's ready. And for season 3, they've got absolutely no excuse whatsoever.
No.
Because that's what, another year further, because you got the Book of Boba next.
Yeah. So, I don't know if it's a year, is it? I think, isn't it spring 20? Well, I don't know if it's confirmed, but I heard rumors of spring 22. No,
I'm not certain. I know they're definitely different.
So the Book of Boba Fett finishes, and then Mando a couple of months later, maybe.
Possibly. I'm not certain. I hadn't heard that bit on it. I had heard that obviously, Book of Boba is not Mando season 3.
No, it's not.
They are separate things, but I don't think
you can leave the Mandalorian too long, can you? I mean, be a long time to wait, wouldn't it?
I wouldn't have thought so. You'd think they'd want to strike while the iron is hot. It is currently the highest streaming program around. You want to keep that going. That said, Stranger Things took a bit of a break between their 3rd and 4th season. So, and that's another one that's obviously been incredibly popular.
They've also got other things that, you know, to keep us going, haven't they? You know, we've got Bad Batch in May, Book of Fett at the end in December. Is there anything else next year? When's Kenobi start? Is that 2022?
That's yeah. I think that's 22. Rogue One. Andor is filming at the moment.
Yeah.
Again, I haven't paid close enough attention to the release dates on a lot of the stuff, to be honest.
I heard that Kenobi's going to be like a limited series where there's only like 4 or 5 episodes or something. Is that right?
Yeah. I'd heard 4 episodes, one and done. And
maybe there's just not enough for him to be doing when he's supposed to be just sort of chilling and looking after, in retirement essentially, isn't he? And
well, that's it. I mean, I've got I know people who I've spoken to about it that are not really in favor of Anakin meeting Obi-Wan again in that period between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. I've heard other point of view, as it were, to say, well, yes, when I left you, I was but the master, the learner. Now I'm the master. Could be taken slightly differently. All sorts of lines in there that could make
Mark saying here that Mando season 3 is the 20. I thought that was the Book of Fett is in December 21.
That was my understanding.
Because they wouldn't run them both at the same time, would they?
I don't think so. I think it was meant to be one after the other one.
But Book of Fett is definitely December next year.
Because
whether it's come straight after, maybe I don't know.
I think they wanted to put a bit of space between Series 2 and Series 3 of The Mandalorian to allow Baby Yoda to go and get some training off screen. He would. I just can't get used to Grogu. So you get some training off screen rather than pick it straight up where he jumps in the X-wing with Luke and off he goes and they're instantly training straight away. I don't know. Maybe.
So we got no firm word on Mando 3. That's what I thought. Book of Fett is December 21. Cheers, Sean, mate. Thank you, mate. Cheers for the support and everything on Patreon. I appreciate it, mate. And see you soon. Yeah. We have done 2 hours now, guys. So we're gonna wrap it up in a second. But I just want to say thanks for being in the chat and everything, listening to us talk about stuff. And obviously, I hope you like the news of the new live streams I'm going to be doing next year. I personally can't wait to do them, and I can't wait to get the guests on the show. It'll be awesome. It won't just be those guys. We'll have other people on it as well. I'm sure Chris will come on 1 week, only one. Loads of other people in the community, I'm sure, will want to come on and talk about the vintage collection. That's predominantly what it will be about, though, the vintage collection. So, because it's called the Vintage Collection Show, obviously. Thanks everyone for listening to us talk today. I appreciate the support. I think we're averaging over 170 the whole time, which is awesome. So really appreciate it, guys. And what even day is it today? Is it Monday today?
It is Monday, mate. Yes.
Yeah. I'm lost because it's like, I'm off work and it's the Christmas period. I never know what day it is.
Yeah.
I'll do more videos this week. Ask Boss Bounty next Sunday. So get your questions in on this week's episode, which went on air yesterday or went live yesterday. Thank you, Stephen, for that great stream. Thank you, guys. C-Moles, appreciate it, guys. And 2 hours. I think that's enough. Thank you, guys. We'll do another one soon. I might do another stream before we actually do the Vintage Collection show, but just to give you a heads up of when that's going to be. But just stay tuned for more information. But I appreciate you coming on, Chris, for helping me on this, and appreciate everyone in the chat. Be sure to subscribe to Chris's channel if you haven't already. Smash the like button on this video. And if you missed half of the stream, I'll put it in the playlist so you can find it there. And thanks, guys. Cheers, Chris, mate. Do you want to say anything before we go?
Thank you very much for having me. Thanks for the plugs as well. Much appreciated. I've thoroughly enjoyed being on this evening. And happy New Year to everybody in the chat. May 2021 be a much more fun, much more positive year than this last one has been.
Yeah, and whatever you manage to do, guys, on New Year's, stay safe. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right then, guys. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon.